Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Catering Insight and Foodservice Equipment Journal's Market Talk. Joining myself, Claire Nichols, and my colleague Andrew Seymour today, we have Michaela Stevens-Smith, who is a director of TAG Catering Equipment, and we have Ray Hall, who is the managing director of supplier RH Hall. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today, guys.
Thank you. Pleased to be with you.
Thank you indeed. I'll start with you, Michaela, because I know that TAG have been putting out some guidance for operators hoping to start up fairly soon. So could you just tell me how you've been attempting to assist, hopefully, the big restart in the next few weeks?
Well, the biggest thing that we've done is the recommissioning checklist. So that's just to give all of our customers and anybody in the industry really an idea of what they should be looking at, what they should be doing before they go hurriedly in, switching everything on and thinking it's all going to be fine. So we've spent quite a lot of time going through all the various different equipment types and compiling lists, and we've done a checklist so that we've got some support for our customers, and they've got a reference tool really that they can go to, that they can use, not just now, in the future, as a format that they can look at, see, use, and check off everything that they're doing correctly. And hopefully, if there is anything, then identify problems beforehand so that they then know that they need to call somebody in, be it us or whoever, before they have big problems.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that we've done with regards to getting them back. But prior to that, we did quite a lot of other insights, we've called them, tag insights. So we did the opposite. We did a decommissioning blog so that they hopefully switched all of their equipment off correctly, looked after it, mothballed it correctly.
Yeah.
And then the recommissioning, the checklist, and how to operate things effectively. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm. What have they been feeding back to you? Have they been indicating that they're finding this useful, or are your customers saying that they're going to actually be able to reopen on the planned schedule at the moment?
We have, I mean, I would say that by and large we've had a lot of good positive feedback. We've had a few people coming back to us and saying thank you, it's been very useful, that they've used it, particularly they like the ticking things off as they're going along. We as a company, we've made a big effort to engage and continue to engage with all of our customers. So we've been, throughout this whole period of time, we've been making sure that we ring, that we speak, finding out what they need, whether it's checklists or whatever. And they're saying to us, yes, they know that this is going to be transient, that they're going to be getting back. It's just when and how. And it's just a case of mitigating their costs currently so that when they're ready, they're ready to go. And that seems to be the main consensus that we've been receiving. We haven't had people saying that they're closing down or they're not going to open, or it's all just about when. Which I think is good. I think that's positive.
And how are things with you, Ray? Are you slowly and surely bringing people and staff back into the business?
Yes, we are. I think the same. I could say the same for all of us. That we were hit by a big sledgehammer when, we were all sent into lockdown. 80% of our business is reliant on hospitality industry. That we've invested in tremendously over the years, and it was a massive blow to really know, where we would go from that point of time. But since lockdown, we've been very much open for business on a much restricted staffing level, but we kept the business fully operational on every department level. The guys have worked extremely hard as a team, and from day one, we all got together and put a plan together. Obviously, that was a moving target, but it was updated on a regular basis. We've kept staff informed regularly on a weekly basis of where the business is, what's happening, keeping them very much in mind of how we can phase them back. Obviously, financials are very much dependent on. And it's been extremely difficult, but we have over the last, we're in week 14 now of lockdown, which is quite amazing.
Really? Yeah.
It's just frightening how long this has gone on. But we very much have made sure that RH has been open to business in every aspect, and we've managed to maintain a revenue level, albeit far much lower than we need it to be. We're down to about a third of what we would normally achieve if we were having all staff in the workplace. And from staff around about 50, we're down to 19 people, which we class as essential workers. From July the 1st, it's a big game changer for us, for all companies, because of course we are able to bring people back on an hourly basis. So that means that we can start phasing people back, even if it's just a day a week, 2 days a week, a few hours, just to get them back commercially minded again. That has been the hardest thing for us, I think, is having to furlough staff for such a long period of being outside the workplace. It's going to be a massive shock to so many to come back in, and we want them all back. Our plan as a company is to see this through. We're determined to do that. We've put everything in place. We've had to borrow an awful lot of money. We've had good bank support. But, fortunately, we're a company like yourself, Michaela, that has been in business a long time. Put a lot of money back into the business over the years. We've got bricks and mortar, we own the buildings. But, cash is king at the moment, and that's the hardest thing. We've got lots of stock, lots of overheads, lots of assets, but it's the cash, keeping suppliers paid, making sure that we maintain the right level of service to our customers, which is hugely important going forward. And we've managed to do that very successfully. And whilst we're not making money, we're losing money at the moment, it's sustainable. And we will get through this. We're a bit of a different company, but I'm confident that we'll be a better company for it. We've learned a lot.
Yeah.
And we've had to diversify as well. There's big changes in the company, from 80% reliant on the hospitality industry. From day one, we searched different marketplaces that were open, the supermarkets, obviously NHS. We even got involved with the factory of making mortuary racks at the start. We searched, and the R&D team in the factory have come up with some brilliant new products, not all catering led. So it's made us as a company really think outside the box, and we've had to think on our feet. We've had to move quickly.
But that's the thing, isn't it? It does. I mean, sometimes these sledgehammers that come along the way, they do make you think in a different way. They make you more creative and innovative, actually. And I think that's the positive side of this. I mean, I would say that that's exactly what we've experienced a lot of those. The furlough issues, the minefield of the HR involved in all of that, and managing it, which has been a big undertaking for a company our kind of size that doesn't have the benefit of having their own HR department. That's been quite challenging. But as for coming out of this the other end, we took it and looked and thought, you know what, this is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to almost clear how you do things, and to think, right, well, have we been doing this? Have we been doing that? We had an absolutely bonkers crazy year last year. It was just so busy, and you're reacting, and it's been quite nice to be able to take a step back and to look at the processes that we're using, the software that we're using, even the templates, and we have just from the bottom up, while we've been beavering away, kind of checking, reassessing, renewing everything. So it will be a whole new, fresh, brand new start. That's the plan.
Absolutely. Well, we had a situation like most companies that, of course, having to close down the offices, we had to make sure that we had key people able to work remotely. And like most of us, key management for many years now, we've been used to being able to work remote. But we weren't just talking about key management, we were talking about staff that didn't have access. And so within a week, we managed to buy a load of laptops and get everybody logged in. And, for the first 4, 5, 6 weeks, everybody was working remote. There was no access to the offices. So that was a very, very different working environment. But we managed to do it. And as we were able to back to the office, then, you know, we're able to stagger things in a way so that we can rota staff remotely, make sure that there's social distancing in place. We put in a proper measures within the whole business to make sure that everybody had rules, that they knew exactly what they needed to do when they come in the building and exit the building. We knew where people were in the building because we issued them with tags so they'd leave outside the door. And, you know,
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean,
you have to think of everything, don't you? You have to,
because you know, none of us to staff, and you know, to this day, I find it quite amazing. But we've had no members of our staff or known immediate families that have actually come down with this COVID-19, which is quite remarkable.
I would like to say we're the same. We haven't actually experienced any of that. And before all of this kicked off and before lockdown, we'd already implemented some very strict hygiene and cleaning processes in the office, because that was my biggest concern, that somebody that was working for us would end up ill somehow. And
exactly.
The responsibility and the weight on your shoulders as a business owner was vast. So before all of this happened, everybody was well instructed and well versed, even just coming into the office, what they needed to do, where they needed to clean, you know. And we had the ubiquitous hand wipes and desanitizer on every desk in every corner, you know, so you were just cleaning everywhere. We just went completely mad on making sure that there wasn't a germ, or no germs could survive. But of course, coming back, we've still got those good disciplines in place. And like you said, Ray, we're just now beginning to start thinking. We kept our key people. There are key people that we needed, that when we've continued to, they've continued to work. But now things, I can notice that there are shoots. We're getting inquiries and being asked to do things. And so now we're kind of planning for July, because the flexible furlough is just excellent. Because it means that you can pick up and put down as is required.
That's right.
Particularly in the first few weeks, because none of us know how long it's going to take to get to those levels that we're used to. So
and indeed that we need. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, so a question to both of you then. Assuming that the 4th of July is confirmed to be the start-up of the industry again, how would that impact your businesses? I'll start with Ray on that one.
Massively, because, you know, that is our main market. You know, we've been fortunate enough that we've bred the fortune ourselves by diversifying into other markets, which has been a saviour and very good for the additional layers in the business going forward. But once our main markets open up and our customers start getting some cash in their tills, then their confidence will grow and they will start to reinvest into equipment, because, you know, their equipment, you'd expect to replace it on a regular basis, you know, across the whole nation. There's, you know, streams of revenue that we would generally just, you know, appreciate that would come in naturally, let alone the proactive side of the business. So, and I think also caterers will be operating a lot different with their menus. So the equipment that they're using, some of it perhaps won't be used quite so much. They might need more of equipment than they've got, with microwave ovens, for instance, refrigeration. There no doubt will be a few casualties with equipment because it's been left, you know, unplugged and not used for a long period of time. That probably won't be welcome news to the operators, because no doubt they've got a lot of capital to spend at this moment in time. But, you know, there will be equipment needs. There are now. You know, since the takeaway markets opened up, we noticed a gradual surge for small appliances. We've seen the catering trade start to open up. A lot of them, I was amazed how many just literally closed down completely. That was evident by trying to get hold of companies to get them to pay their bills. So, you know, we're kind of fortunate as a company. We've got a very wide spread of customers and a wide spread in the catering marketplace, and we kind of get using from all different areas. And there's definitely a feel that things are coming back. It will be slowly. It's small stepping stones at a time. But, you know, I believe we're very much over the worst. I think if we got to where we've got to now, albeit financially as a company, we're not able to bring the staff back as of now, but come end of October, we very much hope to have the full sales force and everybody back in action. We've got time. We've still got some summer months, hospitality, people travelling going on holiday, more so in the UK because of the travel restrictions. We've got every chance over the next few months to get some cash in the tills, and that's what customers need. You know, if our customers aren't successful over the next few months, then as suppliers, that's going to hit us very hard. So, yeah, I'm confident, but it's going to take time. And we've got to keep our belt tightened and overheads down, which we've done. But there's a limit to how much you can shut down without being operational and providing a service to the customer, because you need people, you need premises, you need staff, and you need to be proactive.
That's the hard part.
Likewise for Tag. Yeah, how the 4th of July impacts your business?
Well, we are thinking that, what we've noticed is we're just beginning to get inquiries for preventative plan maintenance. So suddenly, particularly the hotels, we do a lot of 4 or 5-star hotels, mostly central London, but nationwide as well. And they're beginning to start thinking, right, okay, well, we're going to be opening soon. What can we do to plan and to be ready? And so that's what we're getting, the inquiries to go in. I mean, obviously, we don't know what we're going to find until we get there. That will be the interesting, whether, like Ray said, they'll need equipment replaced or whatever. But we're currently getting the inquiries for the PPM, and so we're trying to, once this flexible furlough kicks in on the 1st of July, trying to get booking in some work over the next month or so, catching up with things that we haven't been able to do. So we think that that's going to be the key part, and it's going to be quite frantic. So we're kind of expecting that there might be kind of a bit of a spike, and then, but who knows? We're all crystal ball gazing to a degree. Who knows?
Well, I think you're going to be busy on the service side.
You asked me as well.
I think you're going to be extremely busy on the service side. We've certainly noticed a lot of calls coming in on service, and customer service was a side of our business that we needed to make sure from day one that was fully operational, because you've got responsibility as a supplier to back up what you sold in the market. And whilst a lot of the markets were closed, there was a lot that were open. We supply catering dealers that don't just supply clubs and restaurants; they supply some of the supermarket chains. So we very much needed to provide a service on that. But the input we're getting, and we log the calls coming into the company each day, the emails coming into the company each day, not the spam emails. But we've done that since day one, and we've been able to gauge the kind of uptake and how this is starting to move forward, in order that we can make sure that we introduce staffing to accommodate, that increase in demand. And we've certainly seen over the last 2 weeks in particular, our call rates have almost doubled.
I would agree with you there.
But
definitely
that's,
would agree
from 50
with you.
to 100, that's a lot more calls. So we don't know what's happening July the 4th, apart from the opportunity is there, which we've been waiting for. That there hasn't been one in that market, so it's quite obvious to identify that there is going to be an opportunity. Very much service, spare parts, customer service. I'm sure a lot of calls are going to be taken to give some advice about some of the equipment they may have even forgotten how to use. And importantly, new equipment supply.
It's a good thing. I like that.
Will the chefs remember how to switch on their rational combi and use it?
Combi ovens.
It's been a long time. A bit like the hairdressers. Are they going to remember how to cut my hair? I hope they do, because mine definitely needs to cut.
Well, I cut mine last night because I thought it needed to be a bit presentable.
My wife, I'm running out of hair gel at the moment. That's the only thing that keeps close to my head. But no, it's great to see, and we need that new tomorrow. And I hope they also relax on the 2 metre, because it's all very well being able to open up. They've got to make a profit, and they can't make a profit, many of them, on the 2 metre rule because they can't accommodate and serve enough people. If they can't do that, then they haven't got a business, and that's not their own fault. That's not their own doing.
No,
they want to
I mean, I think that it's all looking quite promising for that. I'm quite hopeful that tomorrow, or today, I don't know exactly when it is, that there will be an announcement to say that the social distancing rule, even if it's in just certain situations,
exactly
has been reduced, because we do a lot of restaurants and what have you, and it would be a lifeline to them to be able to open. I mean, it's quite interesting, the areas in London. I don't know, Claire and Andrew, whether you've seen all that. I think they're opening up, aren't they? Certain areas, some in Mayfair, Soho, and I think I think that's a good initiative. And also when people go in, having to give their numbers. I don't know how keen people will be to give their contact details when they go out to a certain place. But if in the shorter term it gives people reassurance, any kind of initiative like this, portray somebody's been, I think it's all good, and it will all help.
Funnily enough, I saw a tweet over the weekend from the operations director of one of the pub groups, and he said for that first weekend, when they're expecting the pubs to reopen again, they've literally got hundreds of people booked in already for tables. I think is obviously a great sign, and plays into what you both described there.
Yeah.
Just one other thing.
Hotels are busy. I think the hotels they've got pre-bookings, so they're all thinking ahead. So there's stuff to look forward to.
Yeah, Michaela, on the project side, you were obviously involved in have a project pipeline prior to the lockdown, and would have been involved in schemes that were coming to fruition. Do you get a sense that these particular kitchen projects that were on hold because of the lockdown will bounce back after?
Oh yes. I mean, we're already making some plans for some in August. Yes, so without a doubt, that will be the case. That we haven't had any cancelled or said that they're not going to go ahead with it, which is good. In actual fact, we've been doing a lot of quoting. That's been keeping us busy. So there are a lot of people or customers, sectors out there that are thinking, or that have had the time to sit and think, right, well, where do we want to be in 6 months, in a year, or I've just been so busy focusing on my day. I want to think about doing this, or saving some money, or getting returns on investment on ecological equipment. They have time to think about this. So in terms of inquiries and quoting, that's been pretty buoyant, which is again, that's encouraging.
Yeah. We've certainly been working very hard with our contract customers, where generally we would expect regular rollouts, and some of these are with the coffee chains, not mentioning any particular names, but we deal with quite major ones within the UK, and one particular one forms quite a major part of our business, and it's been a contract we've had for probably 10 years now. And immediately upon lockdown, we were expecting this year to have probably 50, 60 rollouts at least. Well, they were all put on stock, and we had their stock coming into our warehouses to procure and have ready for them. So we had quite a dilemma in our hands, really, to have all this stock, one to pay for and one to store. But the reason I mention it is that we are in regular dialogue with these companies, because we're very keen to know when the rollouts will start happening. I think one of the biggest stumbling blocks we've got with these companies is they very much want to get back onto that, back on the roadmap of these rollouts. But there's going to be a lot of renegotiating done with landlords, where they'd obviously pre-organised agreed rents. And of course, going forward, as we know, the rental, the amount of rent that these places have to pay for has got to be renegotiated to make the whole thing viable. So I think there's going to be a big period of time where there's going to be lots of renegotiations with landlords where these sites were half promised. So I think that might hold back some of the actual schemes that were in place, because that's a bit more at the moment. I think a lot of the operators are expecting to get some savings from landlords, and there will be some desperate landlords out there. where companies will go bust. So I think we've got a little bit of a period of time to go through until that kind of just balances
so
out.
are these nationwide, Ray, or are they?
Yeah,
right, throughout the whole country.
National companies,
National.
that have literally just put everything on stop. But they want to get back as soon as they can. But I think I think it'll be not till the end of the year that we'll see some of those start going again.
I mean, we've had because we do designs and what have you. We've had quite a few inquiries of how our customers can change how they operate so that they can encompass social distancing, or even, for example, when they come back to work or open their establishments, how they can navigate having a buffet, for example.
Yeah.
So we've been helping our customers come up with ideas and solutions of how you can have a buffet that runs socially distanced. You know, there are lots of kind of questions that you're asked and things that you get involved in just purely because of this COVID situation. Yes. So that's going to be interesting. But I again, it's difficult because as the goalposts are changing almost certainly weekly, sometimes daily. It's difficult because you how much money do you spend and invest in putting into completely new process, completely new setups, if it's only going to be temporary. So that's another quite challenging, but coming up with innovative, cost-effective ideas.
Well, it's a good challenge to have. It's a good challenge to have, guys.
That we've been having.
But the first thing we've got to do is get people spending money again. We've got to get that money going through the customers' tills. If we want them to start spending with us, they need some money. So
absolutely,
and it will happen, but it'll be gradual. And it's also that confidence, isn't it, with the consumer? You know, I think immediately people will want to go and experience the pubs again and restaurants, but
absolutely,
the operators have got to make that a good experience and a safe experience for everybody. I think we've been gradually introduced to this more confidence out because we've been allowed out more. There's been more places opening up, and I think we've become used to automatically social distancing. It's just become second nature.
It has.
I think we've got
I mean, I know
I think I'm going to have to cut you off there, folks, because we are running out of time. But thank you so much for taking part in this week's Market Talk. It's been a really, really interesting discussion. As I say, we'll be back next week with a new episode. But thank you both, Ray and Michaela, for this week.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you. Bye, Ray. Bye, everybody.
Take care.